So welcome back. Continuing with the session. Uh, in the previous video, I have talked about your different type of blood cells. Okay, white blood cells, especially which are related to immunity. Okay. Now today I'm going to talk about how we have seen that natural killer cells are now. Okay, let's start with NK's action. So NK cells. So NKs are what? They are large lymphocytes, as you have read earlier. Now what do we see here? This is your what? NK cell. This is your NK cell which I have made, and I've shown that they have got large vesicles on them. Okay. Now what do we see? That this is your now body cell which is infected infected by virus. Okay, so it's an infected cell, and you know that your virus is what kind of virus? Is what kind of parasites? It is an intracellular parasite. What kind of parasite? Intracellular parasite. So what they do? They hijack your protein machinery and they start forming their own proteins. So you can see a lot of viral particles are there on them, and what they do? They start forming these glycoprotein over these cells. They will have a glycoprotein on their surface. They will start forming these glycoproteins on their surface. Okay, so like this you will see that they will have a glycoprotein on their surface. Is it not forming? Or suppose I make another cell for you. Just wait a minute. This is the cell. Okay, this is virus infected cell. मान लीजिए यहाँ पे virus है, बहुत सारे viruses are there in it. Okay, and now this is what is your virus glycoproteins on it. Okay, now these are viral glycoproteins on it. These are what? These virus infected cell. Now it will form it viral particles, and you can see these are viral glycoproteins on it. Okay, so these are glycoproteins. These are viral glycoprotein. Okay, now these viral glycoprotein can be identified. Like if I make this is a viral glycoprotein, so now suppose this is your NK cell, another NK cell I'm making for you. Suppose this is an NK cell. Now these NK cells, on them there are what? There are receptors for these glycoprotein. For these glycoprotein, they have got what? They have got receptors on it. Okay, so they bind to these receptors. Okay, once they bind to this receptor, what happened? These receptors, when they bind to that signal molecule like glycoprotein, it gives a signal that it is a foreign protein. Okay, now what these NK cells will do, these vesicles which are having perforins on them, okay, they will be released. Okay, now these perforins will what do? They will lyse, they will make holes in this infected, viral infected cell, and they will induce what? Now they will just swell that cell and make that cell die. Not only that cell will die, but all the virus will be die. So what they do, they also induce in them, inside this viral infected cell, what will they do? They will induce apoptosis in these cells. Induce what? Apoptosis. Apoptosis is what? Cell suicide. That is, you have read that lysosomes will burst open and they will cause the death of the cell. Not only the death of the cell, but death of all the viral particles in it. Okay, so this is how they cause what? They protect your body by from your what? This is how your NK cells they act. Now let's look at the actions of the LK cells they are doing. Now they are large lymphocytes, and where do we find them? You find them in blood, bone marrow, lymph nodes, isn't it? These are the regions where you will find them. And what they do, and as we have seen, they secrete a kind of a cytokine perforin, which causes the lysis of the cell, which helps in what? Which kills microbes. Now if there is a microbe around, suppose there is a microbe around, suppose this is a bacteria. Now this perforin, what it will do? It will cause the lysis of the wall of the bacterial cell also, and that's how it will kill that bacteria also. Okay, so it kills microbes, and what it does, it also kills your tumor cells. So it also kills your tumor cells. Okay, and also it kills your what? It kills virus infected cells. It kills tumor cells, virus infected cell. I hope this is clear now how your NKs they act. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, that was interferons. Now this is the picture I made before because it's easier to talk about interferon. So let's talk about interferon. Now what do you see in the picture? You see in the picture that there is what? You can see here, that there is a cell which is what? Which is infected cell by virus. As I hope it's clear, this is an infected cell, as you can see. This is what? This is your infected cell. Your infected cell, isn't it? This is your infected cell. No, virus infected cell. You can see these are virus particles. I need not talk further about again it's an intracellular parasite. It hijacks your cell and starts making its own protein. Now, now when this is an infected cell, these infected cell, they now what they do? They hijack your protein machinery, as I have talked about earlier. Now these infected cell, they are releasing chemical which we are calling as what? What are these? These are your interferons. Now, how do these interferons they work? Interferons, F-E-R-O-N-S, F-E-R-O, interferons. Okay, so how do they work? How do they produce their action? Okay, now you can see here, this is your what? Now, there are various macrophages around it, isn't it? Now you can see not only macrophages, your other cells also, your body cells also, maybe it is a macrophage or any other body cell. Now what do? They have got receptors on them. What do they have? What is this? This is your receptor. This is what? This is your interferon receptor. Interferon receptor. Now what happens? These interferon bind with them. Now this is your interferon. So these interferon will bind with their receptors. Okay, once they bind with their receptors, what happens? They send a signal. What they will do? They will send a signal to this cell. They will send a signal to this cell. What to do? What to do? What they will send the signal? It will trigger the cell to prevent the from virus infection. How? By stimulating. What they will do? This receptor, when this interferon binds to the receptor, what it does? It stimulates. What kind of mechanism? Antiviral enzymes. It stimulates what? antiviral enzymes. So in these cells, what enzyme will become active? Antiviral. Now when any virus will try to enter that cell, these enzymes are ready to chop that viral particles, isn't it? You get? Now the second thing, how do they will protect is that the second mechanism is, how will they do that, is by they stimulate, they have got this, they, your virus, basically what it does, now it hijacks your protein machinery, as I have told you. Now these cells, now these normal cells will, what do they will lower their protein activity. थोड़ी देर के लिए वो क्या करेंगे, they will stop their, or they will lower their protein synthesis. उस पूरी मशीनरी को थोड़ा सा स्लो कर देंगे, so that virus cannot make its own proteins. Okay, and what also they will do, they will cause activation of now these interferons. What they will do, apart from now these cells, you know how they will protect themselves. Now what else these interferons can do, they, now basically these are the different functions of it. They cause activation. Interferons cause activation of neutrophils. So once they activate your neutrophils, what will happen? You know they are phagocytic in nature. They will engulf these cells, these viral infected cells. Okay? Huh? And also what these interferons they do, the another action of interferons is that they prevent what? Prevent metastasis. Like cancerous cells, when they move from their position, from one cell, from an area, suppose a person has got a tumor at somewhere in mouth, and when it gets shifted to somewhere else in the body, then we call it as metastasis. And interferons, they prevent metastasis of tumor cells. Okay, of tumor cells. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So let's quickly get a recap of it. How do the interferons, these viral infected particles, the cells, they release what? Interferons in our body. When our cell get infected, it releases interferons, and these interferons bind to the receptors which are present over the cell of our body, these interferon receptors, and what they do, they stimulate antiviral enzymes, and they also lower their protein synthesis so that these cells can be protected from virus. This is what you have read, that interferons protect the nearby cells from getting infected by virus. And what other roles the interferons have? They also cause activation of your neutrophils, so that they activate them for phagocytosis of such infected cells, and they also prevent metastasis of tumor cells. Okay, so with this I will like to, I hope I have completed innate immunity, all the parts of it. Now from the next video I will move to active or acquired. We will talk about acquired immunity. Okay, with this, thank you for watching. Welcome.